way the team functions. The team, all phases of the game. When he's the quarterback versus Foles.
So you're saying it's a leadership issue, not a talent issue?
It may be unfair because Foles may have some extra special pixie dust that other normal dudes don't have, right? But just look, they were flat last year. Stephen A. brought up 5-6 under Wentz. They made a run into the playoffs. They won a game at Soldier Field against one of the teams a lot of people were picking to win the Super Bowl. Then they went to another place where it's impossible to win, lost by 1 score, and almost pulled that off. And that was in a Super Bowl title defense where Nick Foles won the MVP the year before. Why is it suddenly that we have firefighters or Good Samaritans making jokes about Aguilar on social media, right?
Yeah.
Why are receivers dropping passes? Why is the offensive line, and to me, it looks like sometimes giving up on the play? Like, what is this all about? Whatever it is, Carson Wentz.
So we're not only feeding community.
It's weird because Nick Foles, not Carson Wentz, is a guy that led him to the Super Bowl. Nick Foles is totally different. He's a guy also that went into this team this year that wasn't in a playoff berth type of area and allowed them to win 6 out of the last 8 games and then make the playoffs and do a very good job in the playoffs, beating the Bears on the road in the first round. So it's a little bit different. I also think the one thing that bothered me about the story, the totally one thing, was that a veteran player went to him and that veteran player said he felt like Carson pushed him away. Do
you realize that Nelson Aguilar has started to thrive and catch the ball again now that Carson Wentz is not his quarterback? Notice how players get so much better when Carson Wentz isn't playing with them. It's another example of players not respecting Wentz, not trusting Wentz, disliking him as a teammate. All those reports saying he's selfish, players don't like him, the results speak for themselves. Carson Wentz has 60 career fumbles. He started 5-6 in four of his first 5 seasons. Nick Foles, remember, took over a team that went 5-6 with Carson Wentz in 2018. That same exact team with Foles won the remaining games in the regular season, including beating a Rams team who went to the Super Bowl that year in 2018. The Texans had won 10 out of their previous 11 games. Nick Foles threw for 500 yards versus the Texans. Carson Wentz with that team went 5-6 against the easiest part of the schedule. Okay, the team plays significantly better without Carson Wentz. He makes everyone around them worse.
Well, Carson Wentz failed in Philadelphia.
Woo! Man, we summing this up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say he would fail, and I'm going to tell you why. One, in the last 2 years, he played 11 games last year, 5-6. This year, week 11, 5-6. It's not a winning record. 2, football is a great game of skill, but a greater game of will. By the very nature, essence of the game, you are trying to move people against their own will. And then the people who are supposed to help you are not trying to help you as much as possible, as fully as possible. Teammates not pulling in the same direction as you. Case in point, Nick Foles gets in there 2 different times, and the team looks completely different in complexion both times. That's because football's militaristic. Key elements of football: trust and communication. To the point where we don't even have to say anything and we know what's up. Nonverbal communication. He doesn't have that. So what's going to end up occurring, because all these stories find a convenient place to land somehow, some way with Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to erode whatever talent, whatever numbers you put up, because guys are not pulling in the same direction. So ultimately, if you gun the head, say, what do I think? I think this situation's not going to go as advertised.
Marcel, I have to agree with what you just said, and in a sense of, he will fail in Philadelphia. I think, just the bar has been set so high. By Nick Foles, regardless of when he came in. He did what he did. They won the Super Bowl. Now, it's a ceiling.
Should the Eagles...
I would say through the end of the regular field playoffs, and they win the Super Bowl. I was like, these dudes are dead in the water. Come on. Nick Foles takes over. They win the Super Bowl. He leads them through the end of the regular season, through the playoffs, and they win the Super Bowl, and he wins Super Bowl MVP. If it was just that, you say he caught lightning in a bottle, Wentz put him in a position to win, home field and all this. He had a great team around him. Okay, the next year, Wentz...
By the way, Wentz there's a major misconception. Wentz didn't even win 11 games in 2017. Remember, the Vikings won 13 games. They didn't even get the 1 seed, okay? Foles beat the Rams with a game-winning drive in 2017 after they were losing when Foles came in. So Foles won that 11th game. Then he had to win the 12th and 13th game to get the 1 seed. Remember, the Vikings won 13 games. They didn't get the 1 seed. Wentz didn't even win 11 games. Okay, so Wentz was completely useless. The Eagles went undefeated without Wentz in 2017. Remember that, okay? And they beat real playoff teams. Wentz didn't play anybody good in 2017. Foles beat all the playoff teams.
I want to say the Eagles were like 5-6.
They were 5-6 with
when Foles
Wentz.
took over the team. They were either 500 or a game under 500 and dead in the water. The team wasn't going anywhere. They were dead in the water. Foles takes over, goes 4-1, beats Chicago at Soldier Field, where Chicago was a lot of people's sleeper pick. They might come out of the NFC. Look at this historically great talent on defense. Almost beat the Saints at New Orleans to follow up beating the Bears at Soldier Field. Receiver turns around. He hit the receiver. They might beat the Saints at New Orleans. Came that close. That's a title defense. Unsuccessful eventually, but that's a title defense. Now the Eagles had a choice to make. What do? They choose Wentz. Foles goes to Jacksonville. It's a bad situation. I get it. But so what could Foles do with this team? They're too banged up. They don't have enough. You might as well have Wentz. No. Given what we know now, Wentz is not enough to cover up for your mistakes. Well, they made the playoffs last year. You saying Foles couldn't have in that division? Last year, Wentz did not play well down the stretch.
Foles would have went 13-3 last year on the Eagles. Remember, the Eagles were a roster picked to win the Super Bowl last year. Remember everyone saying the most talented roster, most depth? Wentz started 5-7 in 2019 when he had the best O-line in football the first 12 games. Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, and Dallas Goedert played each game those first 12 games, and Wentz started 5-7. Remember, he played awful versus the Falcons. He played awful all game versus the Lions. He was horrible the first 12 games, and he started 5-7. Nick Foles would have easily went 13-3 last year on the Eagles. Here's a perfect example of Carson Wentz single-handedly destroying this franchise. This is a 3rd down and 2 in a critical point. There's around 30 seconds to go in the game. It's 3rd and 2. You need this first down to extend the game, okay? You have a wide-open Wendell Smallwood right here, okay? All he has to do is pass it to Wendell Smallwood, and you get a first down, and now you have 4 more downs to get a touchdown. You're already in the red zone. He throws the ball into double coverage. So I've said this all along, based on what I've seen. Carson Wentz has no desire to win. That's why he didn't throw to Wendell Smallwood. Now, in a best-case scenario, the best defense of Carson Wentz, you can say he has terrible instincts. He either has no desire to win or he's not a winner, he's a losing player, and has terrible instincts. Because any guy that wants to win, your first instinct is throwing to Wendell Smallwood. How do you throw it into double coverage to Alshon Jeffries? What happens? Terrible play, they don't get it, and they lose the game. Double coverage. You had a wide-open Wendell Smallwood. Here's another example of his weapons being wide open all game and Wentz overthrowing his receivers. That would have been an easy touchdown. Carson Wentz single-handedly loses them every single game. Wide open receiver for a touchdown and overthrows. This guy has no desire to win. Remember, how many times do we see this guy ignore an open receiver where you'll have guys that are open on a big 3rd down? He'll have an easy opportunity to pick up the first down, 3rd and 2, and run it. And his first instinct isn't to run, which what happens is it allows the pocket to collapse. Therefore, the lane's closed. He can't pick up the first down. And then he throws into double coverage, or he throws a really difficult throw to a receiver that's being, really toughly defended. And they don't pick up the 3rd down or 4th down, and they go 3 and out. And all the momentum's ruined. And he stole so many drives. How many times have we seen Carson Wentz where the pocket collapses to the left and he feels the pressure, but his instincts don't allow him to quickly run to the right and get away from the pressure. So he'll wait 1 or 2 seconds. Therefore, by the time he waited the 1 or 2 seconds, the pocket collapses and they either fluster him out of the pocket and therefore now he has to make an ill-advised pass, or he gets sacked and the down and it gets ruined and they have to go 3 and out again. So the point is, we saw Carson Wentz go 5-6 in 2018. The same exact team without Carson Wentz, with Nick Foles, same coaches, same personnel, went on a playoff run, with the same team that was terrible with Wentz. So he is 1,000% to blame. The Eagles would have won possibly 2 or 3 Super Bowls. They would have definitely went 13-3 in 2019 because the team was healthy the first 12 games. Wentz started 5-6. You look at 2020, he had all his weapons versus the Redskins the first week of the season. He was awful. He had all his weapons versus the Rams. He lost that game. Versus the Bengals, he overthrew 1 million receivers. They should have won by 4 touchdowns that game. He single-handedly lost to the Giants when he had Jeffries back, he had Rager back, he had Goddard, he had Lane Johnson. Carson Wentz has single-handedly destroyed this franchise. There is no player in sports that's more harmful to their team than Carson Wentz. He has no desire to win. Do you ever see this guy argue with a ref? Ever? Do you ever see him get upset at a player or get angry after a player, misses an assignment? You'll never see that. You'll never see him after a touchdown. Look at the tablet. You look at Drew Brees, Tom Brady, they're always studying the tablet. Even after touchdowns, they're trying to pick up tendencies or pick up things that can help them going forward, even after they got a touchdown. You'll never see that. Even when Wentz looks at the tablet after he throws an interception, you don't really see him processing the information. You'll see Sudfeld show him the tablet, and Wentz will glance for 2 seconds, but he's not really interested, just to show that he's looking, and then he'll look away. This guy has no desire to win. He has single-handedly destroyed the franchise. It is the worst decision in history getting rid of Foles. Foles would have went 13-3 in 2019. Foles would be 8-1 right now as a starter for the Eagles in 2020.